Welcome to Daddies the Podcast, featuring Eric and Greg. Join them each week as they hang with a new guest to talk about who they are, their why, and the stories that come up along the way. Thank you for being a part of the Daddies community.
I'm about to ask a deep question that I want both of your insight on. So we're starting as deep as it gets. Okay. So it's not that deep, but my daughter, John, has a problem with yucking other people's yum. And she's really good at insulting. Like, if you get something to eat, she'll say, "That looks terrible." Okay. So we were out at Applebee's the other night, and my wife got something, and she was like, "This smells like wet dog food." So it raises the question, can you yuck your own yum?
Yeah, it sounds like you were going for a two-parter. So
no, I was just kind of, I just wanted some backstory behind this question. And then, I said, I want to ask whoever comes on this show next is getting this question.
Yeah, all right. So yes, you totally can.
Yeah.
I feel like if you prepared it, though, see, that's the difference. If you prepared it, then you get like, all right, well, why does it smell horrible? But if you're going to Applebee's, or what we call Crapplebee's, then you're gonna go to Crapplebee's. You're gonna get something that may or may not resemble food, and so.
What was it? I think it was Family Guy. And he's like, I got a steak, and I ordered it medium, but this is well. And he's like, yeah, it's Applebee's. Shut up and drink your blue drink, because you know what you're getting.
Yeah, totally.
Right? John, where are you located?
I'm in New Jersey.
Oh, okay, so you're close. We're in Delaware.
Yeah,
so
cool.
we have, I don't know, do you have Friendlies out there?
Yeah, no like brick and mortar ones anymore, but we did.
So did we, and they closed like 90% of them.
Yeah, we've got like one or two left. Yeah.
I think we have one left. I think we do.
So Friendlies always reminded me of like a better Applebee's without alcohol, but like I don't really love Friendlies. Eric, I know that's your
it's
jam.
Not my jam, it's my kids' jam, but I do love their like desserts, because it's like you go and you're gonna get dessert when you go.
And
of course,
don't they do the sundae with the clown? Right,
it's
like that's 100% a thing.
Like the little Reese's cups, and then the M&M eyes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I had today. So thank you, John, for.
That's really what our burning question.
All right, great. I'll see you guys later. This was great.
Speaking of yucking others' yums, literally the quesadilla I made, Silas, my son, he came downstairs while I was making it, and he goes, "Eh." And I said, "Bro, you can't do that." He said, "Do what?" He's getting sassy. I'm fucking hating it. He goes, "Do what? Throw up?" I was like, throwing up's not rude, but like doing that in response to someone's food is terrible. Like, you're gonna like this food one day, but right now all he eats is white rice, white bread, put butter on everything.
That's funny.
But too, like, or I wonder if. I feel like now we live in a culture where, like, is it okay to just insult? Like, can you just insult, like, food, music? Like, has that ever really been acceptable to say, like, yo, that song sucks? Or, like, I'm all for constructive criticism, but, like, at what point is it just mean?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
Right?
I think... Yeah, because nothing is totally objective. I may not like mumble rap, but yet somebody finds something good in that, I guess. So, I can't be like, oh, that's just absolute trash. It's amazing playing in bands and stuff like that, the comments section coming up, and it's just like, that song is horrible. Why don't you write a better song? It's like, why don't you write a song? Just one song.
What? But too, like, because you do a lot of social media stuff, do you...
Yeah.
I'm always torn. Like, how in the weeds do you get in your comments? Do you read them all, or do you stay away?
Yeah, I read them all.
Yeah.
If a video, I'm not at that point of getting, millions of views every single day. So it's still all right there. And going into that comment section because you have to do it because the network wants you to do it for engagement. Like it'll pop up as a notification on Facebook or Instagram. You should respond to these 10 comments today. And it's like, oh, all right, I guess I'll just play into the game some more. And then I'll see some of them and I'm like, why did you say that? Like either it's because it's all a lot of music comedy. That's one of the things that I love. I think it's just funny. And so if you get the joke, you get the joke and you laugh and you put a little laughy emoji and then you go. But some people, you would think that like I murdered their kid and then displayed it on social media. It's like, it's not that. I just like, I'm making a funny little observation. And if you like it, that's great. If you don't have to like, you can scroll past. It's cool.
And it baffles me though, like how pissed off people get about people they don't know. Like how like, oh, what you did made me so mad that I have to say something but that's like, so we've talked about this before. We posted that like, hey, you should put your shopping cart away when you're done using it at the grocery store. You probably shouldn't leave it in a parking spot. 90%, I feel like, of the comments were anti putting your shopping cart away because they said that like, hey, you guys are trying to take jobs away from people. It's like, yo,
took our jobs.
Yeah, right. Like, come on, man. Like, at some point, like I don't know. It's so frustrating.
The mental
to me.
gymnastics to defend their laziness is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the keyboard warrior, where like you say it on the interwebs, but you wouldn't say it in person to that person,
No, you would never say any of this to anybody, Yeah, you might agree with somebody about something and then hold a dialogue, but it's never this like, kind of this sucker punch of a comment and then you dip. That never happens in real life. And if you do that in real life, you're a jerk.
No repercussions.
It's weird to think about though. Like imagine though, if you were, and I'd have to like kudos to you if you were an internet troll, but that's how you were in real life. Like imagine just like being such a I don't know if that makes you a shitty person, but like just such a abrasive
they're just warriors. They're not keyboard warriors. You drop the keyboard, straight up warriors.
Mm-hmm. But then like you'll see people like, all right, well then come and fight me. And it's like, really? Over like some stupid meme video?
Well, that's the thing. It's amazing how it spirals out of control to this point. Like I made something about sound guys the other day, like just funny thing that I noticed about sound guys. They're all uptight. They're all like, these big tough guys. And they're all like, they hate their job. It's just funny. It's objectively funny, whatever. I love the sound guys that I get to work with that are great dudes and they laugh at it too. But it's amazing. Like some people go, I've never experienced this. And I'm like, oh, well, you must be a sound guy. And he's like, oh, how dare you? How dare you come at me like that? And bro, like if I was mixing your set, like it would be over, dude. Like I'm in control here. I'm like, okay, can we just say it was a joke? Like
Stop. That is
found the sound guy.
It's so frustrating to me. But I feel like that I've been seeing a lot of people now posting like, hey, I'm getting off social media for a while because it's an awesome place and it's a super toxic place at the same time. Like, yeah. And I feel like I'll read our comments, and honestly, every time I pull up, like, oh, new comments on YouTube, it's like, and a lot of times they are positive, but it's like, all right, well, I'm going in.
Ready? My favorite one. I guess they'll just let anybody make a podcast these days.
Yeah.
And you know what? They will.
They will.
They will let anybody do it, and you should fucking try it.
And so when we first started, that was one of the earlier, like, also they'll let, because we were talking, I don't know what we were talking about, but it made someone angry. It made someone angry. And so now I just, like, if I don't, like, if your comment just pisses me off, I'll just do a little emoji to keep the algorithm happy.
Yeah. You still feed it. Still feed the machine.
Feed it.
Yeah, I will, I'll say things. I was actually having the same conversation last night, and I'll say things to people that then pretty much just shut them down. And I'm not trying to argue their point. Like I just go off. So for example, somebody goes like, I'm a drummer, so, you know, I post a lot of drum content. I do my thing, and people go, oh, that snare drum sounds horrible, or whatever, you know, something stupid. And then I'll just go, you sound like you're a lot of fun at parties. and that just shuts them, because what are they going to do?
Yeah,
what are they going to, oh, I actually am a lot of fun at parties.
Bro, trust me.
Here's the credentials.
Yeah, right. You know, it's funny. I saw you, I think the first time your videos came through our feed was the Guitar Center.
Oh, okay.
And it was perfect timing because I just took a trip to Guitar Center and I was super frustrated when I left. And then your video came up with like how disheveled the company is. And,
yeah, totally.
And I think I left, and I think Eric may have actually been with me.
I was with you.
Yeah, and Eric
doing
is
a
not
trade
a
of
musician
something. No.
at all. No, I had to return something that was broken, and they were like, well, more people are returning broken used gear than buying stuff. It's like, well, then stop taking used stuff, or don't have this return policy that I can return. And it was like this mixer, and it was busted. But it's funny that, like, I mean, speaking of social media, like, it definitely knows, like, we were talking about Guitar Center, and then, look, we got linked up.
yeah, right. It's someone's listening. I don't know who, but someone listening.
But like, especially like the older generation, like, it definitely freaks them out. They're like, well, this thing I was talking about going to the grocery store, and now I'm getting Acme ads, or, you know, ShopRite ads, and it's like, well, something is listening.
Yeah, or they just play into it. My dad, he's got the MyPillow, you know, like, he saw the ad pop up, and he's a MyPillow guy. He's like, can you believe it? Or, like, you know, whatever supplements he's got to take. Now he's just like, I saw this ad for supplements, and now I'm like taking it. I feel better than ever. I'm like, yeah, I think that they got you.
They got you. Have you guys been getting the goalie, like the goalie ads, and it's that big buff dude, and it's for apple cider vinegar, ashwagandha, and the pro and prebiotic. Now that we're talking about it, you're about to get it.
Yeah, I know.
But,
Thanks a lot, Greg.
but it's the same ads, and I'm seeing them a lot, and it's like, are you bloating in your midsection? Fix your gut with apple cider vinegar. Now you can get all 3 for $30 on TikTok, and like, everyone's like, oh my god. And you can tell when comments aren't legitimate, and everyone's like, yes, I bought these and I lost my midsection, and it's like, dog, like, that's not a real person saying that comment.
No.
But then guess what, I went to Target and I bought all 3 of them.
You did?
I did.
Did you
How
lose
do you feel?
Did you lose your tummy?
So I've never had apple cider vinegar before. Taste it like death.
Yeah, it's not for drinking.
Well, and apparently it's supposed to fix your gut. And then the pro and prebiotic, you have to take 3 every like 3 hours or something. So the bottle only has like 60 in it at $30. Dude, like, you can't afford to take the apple cider vinegar. You're supposed to take 3 every like 6 hours. And the ashwagandha is like a couple a day. And like, I'm sorry, but like,
I thought ashwagandha was a drug.
No,
Is that not a drug?
It's supposed to help relax you.
What am I thinking of?
Yeah, it's definitely not a drug, but I don't know if it, like, I don't want to say it's pseudoscience because I'm going to have a lot of pissed off people.
They're going to come right over from the Joe Rogan podcast and be hot.
Yep. Rogan had a scientist on that told us to take these vitamins, but like, just watch these ads when they come through, because like, I saw them enough and it worked. I went out.
Oh, you did actually buy it. You're not fucking around.
No, I bought all 3 bottles from Target, and I didn't take the TikTok deal. But anyway, so it's funny going. Oh, let's go away from the the social media for a second. So you drum in a lot of different bands, but I think that like, we also got linked up because you drum occasionally for 9 Days.
Yeah. So I had seen your thing, because of course I follow all those guys, but I saw your podcast with Jon pop up, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like a fun little podcast. So I listened to the episode. I'm like, oh, these guys are great. Great episode, talking to Jon, talking about all the history that I've heard of 9 Days and how it came about, the record deal, all of that stuff. And it's just interesting. So I guess that's how we got linked up.
How did you get linked up with them? Yeah,
so in that episode, if I'm not mistaken, he talks about being with Brian Vander Ark from the Verve Pipe on the Creed cruise. My band at the time that I was playing for was a band called Tantric. We were also on the Creed cruise. So it was, I don't know, I'll say 15, I don't know if the number's right, 15 bands, ranging from Creed to Three Doors Down to Hinder. All these other bands were on this cruise. And 9 Days was one of them. Tantric was another one. I had been playing for Tantric for 5 years prior to that. So when this Creed cruise popped up, we did the first one, and then there was another one a week later. So one sailed out of Miami, and the other one sailed out of Port Canaveral, and 9 Days was on both of them. So the first cruise, nobody, like you're going into these situations where you don't know what bands are cool and what bands are like, I just want to be to myself and do my job and get out of here. 9 Days was one of those bands that they were just cool dudes. They're great songwriters, good guys to hang with, and great conversationalists, all that stuff. And so after the cruise, of course, we just stayed in touch. And then from there, they're on Long Island. I'm in Jersey. It's pretty easy jump to go and rehearse with them, and their drummer John Michelli, who's fantastic. He played with Meatloaf for a number of years and so many other bands, and he's a busy guy, so they needed a drummer. I went and filled in, I think it was August or so, and I've just done some of his acoustic things, playing some percussion for John whenever he needs me.
Isn't that weird though? Like how I always find it fascinating how like things happen and like how paths cross and like how like the Creed cruise. Like I do have to ask, how badass was that? Like
so cool. All right, so you got to picture this, right? Creed has been out of the game at that point for 15 years. Nobody knowing that Creed would be making a comeback in that year, in 2024, right? So nobody knowing that. And then all of a sudden they hit you with, and I knew about it in July of 23 when they were talking about this is going to be a thing. And I was like, no way, Creed is coming back on a cruise and we're going to be on it? Like, I didn't even care if I played a show. I just wanted to be on that cruise. And so, they set sail and Creed just starts playing. And you're like, oh my gosh, we're back. Like, this is crazy.
Like that just it Creed is like that one band on my bucket list that I really want to see before I die. Like I really want to see Creed live, and I think the closest that they played to us in Delaware was at Hershey Park, like the Hershey Stadium. And I'm too old to drive like more than like 2.5 hours down for a concert,
Same.
Yeah, right. I'm also good for buying concert tickets and selling them because I'm too tired the night of.
Greg loves to not go to shit.
I do. I'm guilty of that. But so who reached out to you to like did like someone from like Creed's like I don't know management team, or did like Scott reach out to you and like, hey bro, you trying to?
A number of years ago, Tantric did a couple of dates with Scott Stapp. He was solo Scott. And he was doing all the Creed songs, but he just had his solo stuff thrown in there. I wouldn't say it was because of any one of us in the band, but just making that connection and going like, hey, Tantric's still around and Creed's coming back, and Tantric was a part of one of the first Creed tours. So it kind of was a lot of bands that Creed has had some impact on or shared the stage with at some point coming back together for a big cruise. Our booking agent got hit up by their agent to say like, hey, would the guys be interested in this? And then they said 2 of them because the first one sold out in like a day. Sold out like that. It couldn't. I don't think I've ever seen anything sell out as quick as this. And then the second one gets announced, and that one sells out in 2 days.
Wow.
So now they're roped into doing this Creed cruise every year. I think it's a 6-year contract. I don't know exactly. And now Smile Empty Soul, the band that I joined up with in 24, is on the next Creed cruise coming up this year. So
yeah,
I get to just live it up on this cruise with Creed. I should just like rent out a cabin for life.
Right.
It's crazy though, because like it seems like the cruises are now like that's the look. So you have the Creed cruise. What's the Emo's Not Dead cruise is also like super popular, but good. Like they are so expensive. I looked at tickets, and it's a cruise. Like cruises are money, but like that's like such a cool experience to be just out in the middle of the water, with bands playing music.
I've noticed that it's two types of people. It's people that can just, they've got money to spend and they got to go and do something, vacation or otherwise. Why take a vacation to the Bahamas when you can go in a boat to the Bahamas or whatever with a bunch of bands, and it costs maybe just about as much. I don't know. But the other thing is if it's not someone that just has money to burn, it's diehard fans, like people that would give their kidney to go and see Creed on a boat, and you're going on a cruise for a different experience. It's not a concert. We were all on the deck watching Creed with all the other fans, or we're like in the restaurants on the ship hanging out at a table and people are coming up to us, or whatever. Like we're a part of the group, and I think people want to go so that they can say, I had lunch with so and so, or I shared an ice cream cone with this guy, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna ask. So like, do the bands, I guess if they're up to it, like just hang out? Like, are you're?
I mean, it's one boat. It's not
right,
like
you're not
it's not like
very
there's
far.
a special side of the boat.
But I mean, like,
only band
I'm-
members here.
I'm sure there are certain bands that are like, well, I don't like really want to hang out, right? Or is it like, I guess it just depends on personality types.
Yeah, there are some people that, some bands and artists that would be on the boat and on the deck as much as us. Or it was, hey, I'm just going to hang out in my room until we have to play our show. And then that's it. I was more amongst like, oh, no way, like Vertical Horizon is playing right now? I got to get up there. Like our set ends like now, I'm going to go and watch Vertical Horizon or whatever. Those things. I wanted to like be a part of it because I'm a fan of all of these bands as much as I am somebody playing in one of them.
I'm curious, what is the what's the sound like on a ship like that? Like, does it sound like, because like when you go to like we saw Green Day and they played at where the Phillies play, and Citizens Bank, and I feel like outside shows never sound. It's not that they don't sound good, but the acoustics are kind of weird, and it's kind of just like going out. Like, and I've never been on a cruise before, so I don't know if you're playing inside or if you're like. If it's all outside, like, does it sound, I don't want to say does it sound good, but like, what's the sound?
So on these cruises, they bring top-notch lighting and sound effects. So, it's not Creed playing on like, Joe's Bar and Grill stage. Like they are playing on what would be a festival stage setup on this boat. They convert the whole main deck that is usually a pool into a like a giant, massive festival stage, right? So there's that stage, but then there's a bunch of others littered around the cruise ship. So there's an actual theater on the boat towards the front of the boat where you can sit, and it's like you would be sitting in a concert theater. There's like a small bar club stage. There's a bigger stage that they have that they called it the atrium stage, but it's like where everybody's coming into the ship. They put a stage there too. So there's all these stages scattered around the ship, and I wouldn't say that any of them sounded bad. There's always those people that are like, oh, this stage sounds better than this stage, or I want to see this band on this stage because it sounds better, whatever. But it's all top-notch gear.
Yeah, I mean, especially like I feel like with a production like that, yeah, you're getting the best of the best. Like maybe if the podcast takes off, Eric, we start making a ton of money, we'll hit up.
I'm good for a cruise. I'm good for a cruise.
You do love a good cruise.
Yeah. My favorite part is the all-you-can-eat ice cream.
Yeah. So is this cruise all you can eat?
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's like really good food. There are always those snobs that are like, oh, like I wouldn't, I'm not gonna like the food. I was like, no way, they've got all of this stuff, and I can just eat it all at any time.
Yeah, it's all the time, right?
It's pretty much all the time. Like I guess midnight or whatever they start to
Okay.
shut stuff down. But like you can just go in, grab a plate of food, grab an ice cream cone whenever. You are living such a lavish lifestyle on these boats that it's incredible.
We went on a Disney cruise with like my wife and her family, and my brother-in-law ate, I think it was like 32 ice cream cones the whole time.
That's a lot.
He
That's a lot.
placed all of his value for the whole cruise on just how
on
many
ice
ice
cream?
cream cones he could.
He's going
I'm
for that
pretty
diabetes.
sure my man could have just bought an ice cream maker. Or like the soft serve machine for his home.
Yeah, especially if
Yeah.
he just went for the ice cream. Like, it's probably cheaper to just go to McDonald's.
By the way, I was checking. You said Tantric, and I had to go back and look. I was at the bar in Delaware, Bar 13. Tantric's playing. This episode won't air before this. They play. They're playing at Bar 13 on Sunday.
Oh wow! Yeah, I don't know. So I left the band in August,
Yeah.
and so I've been doing, whatever John Hampson needs me to do. I'm there, but I've been touring with Smile Empty Soul. We were doing like a Smile Tantric co-headlining tour where I was doing both sets. That happened for 2 months out of last year, and now I play. I mean, I've been playing with. A couple of other bands. There's my friend Billy Wilkins is a YouTuber. He does these like singing for strangers Omegle videos that blow up and go viral. He plays guitar in Dragon Force, if you know that band.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he's now starting to get the solo project, going. And we've been doing his solo project for like 10 years. Like we've been playing together for so long, but we finally got a tour announced literally today it's like the first week of March or so. And I play with another band called No Shows. So my plate is generally like pretty full, and to keep up with the touring lifestyle of Tantric, I just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, so Smile Empty Soul, I remember when... I can't remember the name of the album, but the first song I ever heard was Bottom of a Bottle. And I don't know if that was like the first like big hit that like went like kind of mainstream, but I think it was 2003 maybe. But every local show I would go to here in Delaware, there was always a band covering that song. And it used to blow my mind because that was like before like tabs were around. I was like, how are these people learning these songs already, man? This song, because especially like unless you bought the CD, there was no Apple Music, you had to go out and like, but I just remember every show a band would be covering that song. And then like I texted my sister and I was like, guess who we're having on? You remember Smile Empty Soul? But like my son is now really into you guys too. So you said 2024
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was 24. I want to say 24. So I've known Sean. He's the mastermind behind the whole band, and it's always been pretty much him.
Yeah.
And he's had some phenomenal drummers over the years, but we toured Smile and Tantric numerous times since I had been in Tantric. And just getting friendly with Sean and him and I realizing that we work well together. And Smile, actually, believe it or not, was one of the first bands I actually liked. And it wasn't Bottom of a Bottle. That's what everybody would assume as you like heard that song on the radio. I would buy soundtracks for movies. And this is dating, I'm sure, all of us. But buying a movie soundtrack, and the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack came out. And Smile Empty Soul had a song on there. It wasn't a hit or anything. It was just a B-side that just got cut for that album. I remember buying that as a kid and going, Smile Empty Soul's my favorite band. I didn't know anything else. I really didn't. I just knew that I liked that song, and I knew that was like one of the cooler songs on that record, and I was like, this is really, really neat to have come full circle in my life. to be
Wow.
playing in the band now.
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny though. Those Spider-Man albums were fire. Like
They
now
were
that
awesome.
Wasn't Vindicated on that album too? But which
Yep.
I love Dashboard. And then what was that Nickelback song on the first one with?
So that was Hero, which
yeah.
is Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg,
So-
are you all of a sudden going to tell me that you don't dislike Nickelback? I've been making.
I mean,
I would. It was really early on our podcast. I would try to make a Nickelback joke every time, and Greg would just go, "Stop making Nickelback
I don't
jokes,
think like
please."
I have a problem with Nickelback. I just don't listen to Nickelback. Like that's just.
Hold on, I'm going to show you something real quick. Hold on.
Yes.
Wait, this is great. You're going to love this. If you can see the poster that's hanging on my wall behind my drums.
There it is.
Nickelback. You're talking to a hardcore Nickelback fan here. So
well, we
watch
started
what you
talking
say.
earlier about like what like are you allowed to yuck yums or complain or like say? I mean, Nickelback got the brunt of people hating their music for. And you know what? Probably Creed as well. People hated these bands, and it was cool to hate these bands. But now they're making a resurgence, and now it's like it's kind of cooler to like them now. Like, nah, Nickelback is actually good.
Why was it cool like to hate like on? I don't know. Like, what was the reasoning behind it? Just because
they're top dog. They're the ones. I mean, like you couldn't go, and this isn't coming from the fan. I can separate the fan myself from what actually happened. But How You Remind Me is the most played song on radio, most played rock song on radio. So with all of that coming at you 24/7 on every rock station, you're the top dog and people are just not going to like you. It's in the same way that sort of hate is starting to transition to bands like Imagine Dragons. You know, it's starting to become like, oh, Imagine Dragons isn't cool anymore. They just write lame songs. And like, I like Imagine Dragons. I don't mind. I like a lot of stuff that has that sort of, scarlet letter tag to it. But I think Nickelback being top dog, Creed being top dog, all of these songs, the cheesy music videos, you know, the CGI, like all of it is fairly cheese. And I think what happened is it got uncool because it was so popular, right? And then it's popular now for the purpose that people laughed at it. So the meme culture surrounding Nickelback and Creed and so on has come so full force that bros bro down with Creed and Nickelback because it's funny in a way. It's funny to be such a mega fan of Nickelback.
Right.
That's why I got the poster on the wall.
Yes, you have to. Did you guys see? There's a link to this. Did you see the final season of Stranger Things?
I didn't know.
Okay. Well, there's a setting in the final season that looks an awful lot like the music video for Creed's probably Arms Wide Open, like kind of like big Dust Bowl area. And someone did a fantastic edit of some of the shots from Stranger Things, and they put that music video right into it, and it looked really good.
Did you see the where they like removed the music?
Oh, I love
and
those.
It's just like him falling and then just hits the rock, and it's just
my
like
favorite one of those videos. I need to like share this with the world if they haven't seen it. You know, the Prodigy Firestarter.
Oh yeah,
I am the fire starter. It's like this. The music video is in like these sewers, like the pipes in a sewer, and they're just like stomping, and they remove all of the music, and all you can hear is like their sneakers like squeaking on the ground and going. Yeah. I love those.
There's another one. I know we're all a big fan of High School Musical, and where they're like banging on the pans in the kitchen, and like. Same thing, and that's fun to me. But I feel like who were we talking to? John, I don't know if you ever got down with Scary Kids Scaring Kids, but we had Puyan on, and we were having that same conversation. How like for a while it was like cringe to like say you liked emo music after the kind of there was like that down spiral and the whole crabcore scene and screamo, and now it's cool to like that music again,
If you were that age when it was cool.
If you were
Yeah, but it's funny how all of this stuff has come back around. And in your podcast with Jon, you had referenced something like this to the effect of like what you like. It's all good. Like nobody really cares that you don't like my music, nobody cares, because it's open season with social media and Spotify and whatever. People are listening to literally the weirdest stuff, because you can find the weirdest stuff on Spotify, and it's just like, all right, I guess, like, yeah, if you like emo, that's great. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like too, though, it's a good way to discover music that you like. Eric listens to a lot of EDM, which I don't listen to, but we'll go out to lunch and there's EDM or there's Eminem playing, which is something that I normally wouldn't listen to, but I'm like, oh, this is good, you know what I mean? And then I go home and like maybe I'll hear a song and it's like, oh, I know that song, but I would have never been introduced if I didn't listen to it. And I know, like, you don't like Eric a lot of, like, I love the 1975. Like, they're one of my favorite
I meant to ask you about
bands.
this might get real for a second. Hold on. You know how so my Alexa is hooked up to my Apple Music account. So when like Shay puts on Taylor Swift on my Apple Music, it'll go, "You've recently listened to the Taylor Swift playlist. Play again." And I'll always go, "No, thank you. I'm good."
No.
Okay, were you over at my house? Because the 1975 was played on my Alexa very recently. Is this how I find out you've been sleeping with my wife?
Oops. But I feel like the 1975 and Taylor Swift, they go hand in hand. You know, like, you're probably getting one after.
Maybe Shay's just warmed up to the 1975. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I think the 90s, it's cheesy pop music. Sometimes it's fun. It's fun to listen to. I like
they're your favorite band.
But I like music that I can also just sing along to. You know, like, that is fun to me. But then I also, I've been listening to this band, Hot Mulligan. And, dude, they're so good. They're so good, and it's so different. I can't really sing along to a lot of their stuff, but it's just good, and it's fun, and I like creative things. I don't know. I just like when music is creative, but I discovered them, like, their song was behind like a TikTok video, and that's how I discovered. And I know they're big, and not because of that, but I feel like social media is cool for being able to discover. Or even the dude from Stranger Things that plays Steve. That song that he has, Back to the Beginning, dude, that song is huge, and I didn't realize that was him. Like, I didn't put, because most actors, I feel like, always have a stage name, and his is DJO, like, I don't know, but, and then, like, discovering that is also cool when you discover, like, oh, not only are you a talented actor and you're handsome, but you're also a really good musician, you know? Some people get all the luck, right?
Yeah, yeah, we can't all be so lucky.
Yeah.
You just mentioned like a stage name. You know, my favorite, Shaquille O'Neal, is he's a DJ. DJ Diesel.
Stop.
Yes,
that's rad.
I mean, that man does everything too. By the way,
He was also a genie.
I was eating. No, was he?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't him. I thought that was Sinbad.
No,
you did. Now you're doing the Mandela effect thing. It was.
Am I confused? Because I thought that it was.
No, Sinbad was also in a different genie movie.
Wait a minute. How many genie movies are there?
Well, at least 2. Because
Sinbad,
Aladdin. Now you got 3.
Aladdin.
Genie movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't it? Was it Kazam? Yeah,
Okay,
because
so
Shazam.
Shazam.
Yeah, Shaq.
Oh,
Shaq
you're
was.
right.
Shaq was Kazam.
Sinbad's Shazam. Shaquille is Kazam. Okay.
Well, and then Shazam is also what's his face from DC Universe.
Yeah.
But he's not a genie.
Not a genie.
Well, what's the other one? The Berenstain or the Berenstain Bears? Like, that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
And
what do you remember it being? Because I don't. I thought it was Berenstain, but I don't know.
Same. But since that's what we think, it's probably the opposite.
But didn't someone post like 2 books side by side, and one was Stain and one was Steen? And like the spelling was slightly, like, there was an E and then there was an A. I thought it was Berenstain.
What about Berenstain?
Just like the R.L. Stein version.
It's a little spooky. It was a Halloween special.
But like, I think that's it's so weird to me. I don't know.
Well,
I do have to say, when we had John on, though, like, what a cool dude. Like, what just a nice guy. You never know when you do any episode. Like, we never know. Like, sometimes 9 times out of 10, such a good time. But then sometimes you get someone who's just meh, and he was just such a nice dude. And like the fact that he showed us he had the "Now That's What I Call Music"
Yes.
plaque. Dude, like that shit's just cool. And honestly, that was one of our highest viewed episodes because I think people just like cool people and nostalgia. And everyone knows that song too. Mm-hmm. And just like fascinating stories are always fun, you know?
Yeah, getting to know Jon and getting to play with him, the very little that we do get to do together, it's just always great. It's always something that is, he holds the performance in such a high value. And so it is, you know, when learning all these songs, all these 9 Days tunes, I was like studying hard for these tunes because I want it to be like they haven't missed anything. Like there's a drummer there that they've played with a million times. And so just getting to see how he works is very similar to me, where don't take life too seriously. It's all good. But take the music part seriously, because that's where, you know, it's where everything that we do lies. Like all of my BS but behind the drums about like making fun of sound guys and whatever. That's just for social media. It's just for laughs. But I really take drumming very seriously. And you can tell that Jon is the same way. Just a cool dude to talk to, but very, very passionate about music.
Can I ask, whenever I see like a band replace or not replace or like get a fill-in, replace, whatever, I always wonder, like, how do you learn? Is it like, all right, here's what I need you to learn and just listen to the music, do it by ear? Or is it like, here's a bunch of like sheet music, or like how much freedom, flexibility? I'm sure it's different everywhere you go and whoever you play with, but like, is there some formula to it, or is it?
It does mostly depend on, I guess, a case-by-case situation. Some bands that I play with want it to be note for note. The show is the same as the record. Don't do anything different, sort of thing. Other bands, I have a little bit more artistic freedom. Generally, it's just a learn it by ear thing. Nobody's giving you sheet music or anything like that. But, you know, lots of notes. With someone like Jon, it was a lot of like, all right, here's what I would like you to try to tighten up, and maybe we can watch this. There's also, I mean, you got to figure that was a band that has been playing together for 30 years. Same guys, right? For the most part. Same guys except for drummers. And they've been playing that tight for so long, where they have just live nuances that have worked into their set just because that's how they've always played these songs. It's not even like the record, but it's kind of become as deep as the record for them because it's just instinctual. They just know this live change we're always going to do. So having to, I guess for a band like that, listen to the record, or even Smile, listen to the record, but know, okay, we're going to change this part here when we play it live, or we're going to change this little bit here when we go to play it live. That is where good note taking and good, like, you know, memorization comes in.
I think of that movie, I don't know if you remember from like the early 2000s with Marky Mark, Rockstar, and he like changes up like slight, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, leave it as is. And they're, Eric, I don't know if you've seen it, but like, it's this like white, like this like cover band of this popular band, and Mark Wahlberg joins the real band as the singer and wants to like change shit up, but they won't let him. Like, it's locked in. It has to be like that. So that's just how I always assume that is. But like, I know bands like Senses Fail, and I don't know, I'll see bands like every member is different except the singer. And I'm like how do they, I guess there's just like, I always am curious what the creativity is with something like that. And if it's just one person who really is just kind of like, not even the mastermind, but like, this is how I want it to sound forever, or, you know, to have that flexibility, I think.
Yeah, I think that there's, again, case by case, but there's usually somebody quarterbacking the whole thing. Someone saying, and like, this is what we're going to do here, and this is what I envision over here. And how far they let you run with the artistic side of things is case by case. So I like with Sean and Smile, he comes to me with songs that are pretty much already done except drums. And then we talk out what we're going to do drum wise or what we feel. Usually we jam them at like a sound check or whatever while we're on the road. And there's room for flexibility to say, all right, we're going to do this instead, or maybe we should change this instead. But generally someone like Sean or John Hampson have something in mind that they want and that they envision the drummer doing. And if I've learned anything at all, it's do what they say. Just do what anybody says, because if I can do some really wicked cool stuff on the drums, that doesn't mean anything if I don't have a job. Right. So
I was watching a video of Smile. I think it was less than a year ago. Is it just the two of you? Mm-hmm. Because it sounded really full for just two individuals. Yeah.
So Sean developed this this new system that a couple of bands have kind of adopted. I don't think he was the first, but there's this pickup called a Little Thunder pickup that catches the low string on I don't know if either of you guys play guitar.
Yeah.
Okay, so it catches the low E string and drops it an octave and splits the signal out two ways out of the guitar. So one of those ways goes to the guitar amp, one goes to the bass amp. And he's playing lots of power chords, so it's always striking that low string, which is emulating a bass sound. So we don't have a bass player. We don't play to tracks. It's all still very authentically us, but it is just the two of us. And I appreciate that almost like a compliment, because I'm glad that it sounds full.
Yes.
And I'm glad, like, we've had people go, wait, you don't have a bass player? You guys aren't playing to tracks? Or, like, you know, it really sounds really full. That's always a great compliment.
Well, and it did sound full. And I was looking for the bassist, and I was like, the Wikipedia page just has the two of you. And I was like, there's no one else on the stage. And like, but there are times like when I've watched bands without, and it was a full band, and it was two guitarists, drummer, singer, and it just sounded empty, you know. And I can't remember who it was, but it definitely sounded empty, and their bassist was like out sick or something. But like, you do notice it when it's not there. So having that technology is great, man, isn't it?
Like, it's just great, and that It makes our touring a whole lot easier to not have to lug around a whole bunch of extra gear.
Yeah.
We roll down the street pretty easy when it's the two of us. We have a tour manager with us, so it's really just three guys doing this job, and we're all fairly close too. So there's no like, I don't know, there's no like weird ego things, or it's just the two of us and our TM, and we're just having a blast. So, yeah, it makes touring easy. It makes our live show setup so easy. You go to these festivals and they give you like 15 minutes to set up, and you're like, all right, and a sound check too in 15 minutes. That's asking a lot. I can't even fathom how other bands do it, and we've got like the simplest setup in the game. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, so I do see a lot of bands now. They do like the whole like digital thing, no amps, all digital. And I went down that rabbit hole where I got rid of, I don't want any amps. I want to get the Line 6 Helix, and there was just something missing. And I know a lot of, like, the more money you can throw as much money as you wanted to, and you can make it sound. We had Lad on from the band Park, and he was saying they do the digital thing, but the equipment is like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So
Yeah.
like there's just something about a guitar amp behind you and like kind of feeling like that but have you guys ever done or Sean ever like done the digital thing, or has it always been like it's
always been the real thing.
Yeah.
The weirdest part for me, I've never played in a band that didn't have a bass player, right? And the bass player is the other half of the rhythm section. So now I'm doing the job of holding the rhythm the whole song, right? So I don't have anybody to feed off of. It's just his bass sound that we're getting and no bass player. We lose sort of that percussive element that the bass does have, which is just more or less a learning curve for me coming into it. So you do miss something like that. Because we don't do digital, everything's still there. You still feel rumble on the stage. But yeah, I guess there's also this like bare bones approach that we do like, that when you can have this very little bit of gear and still sound like a massive production, like that's huge. So just being the two of us, bit of a learning curve, but it's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds full. It sounds really good. So kudos for being able to pull that off, because I don't think a lot of people could do that. So,
but to that point of the digital thing, this tour that Billy and I are going to be doing in March, it's all digital other than the drums. So we're having like laptop that changes guitar sounds, as the song is rolling. And so we want our setup to be so streamlined that we go in with our one in-ear box, our rack, and you plug that in and we just go. And there's really not much else. All of our stuff is ours, and we go into the venue and go, all right, we're ready to go. Like, we want it to be so streamlined for that purpose.
I mean, I love that though too. I used to play in a band, and they had a lot of like soundscapes and a lot of like pre-recorded like synth parts on a MacBook, and the problem was they refused to use like they instead of practicing, it was all about choreography, because that was when like choreography was in, and like Memphis Mayfire were huge, and they were doing the the two-step, so like we had to do the two-step, so let's not practice music, let's do that. So we would go and play live, and they couldn't figure out how to program it, and like when something would change in the song, they would like go over and like hit a key, and it would always be off, and it was brutal. And like nothing will make you feel worse than just that. But it's nice that like technology has come a really long way, and you can do some really cool things with it. But I think it's one of those things. But I know capital cities, they just dance around a MacBook for 2 hours, and they're killing it.
Yeah, there are some people that do like my biggest fear. I'm more on the old school side. I want to feel the amps. I want all of that. I also need to be in the mindset. This is with any musician, I think, of I need to evolve with the times. And if you don't change with the times, then you're just going to be some crusty old dude sitting behind your drums going like, I never made it because, I stuck to my guns. Yeah, that's stupid. So it's not worth it. Right. So I really like the idea of evolving with the times, but it scares me, like, to just have our whole show on a MacBook. Like, I'm going to want to make sure that we have some backups upon backups of everything, just in case. Right. Like, we went and did a show on this one tour, and we were out with a phenomenal band, but for the sake of, I don't want to say this about them and then people go, oh man, they must suck, so I'm not going to say their name. But they have everything on their laptop and a whole in-ear rig and whatever. We show up to this venue that didn't have a real sound guy, didn't have any real knowledge of how to set up their rig for the purpose of playing their tracks for their show. Their whole show is choreographed. From night to night, it is the same show, and that's awesome. They killed it every single night, but this one show in particular, it wasn't their fault that they couldn't do the tracks, but there wasn't a real good backup to not have tracks. And so when you have these things that you rely on and they're also so faulty, I don't know, I'd rather just the real thing, I guess.
I know we had on Ryan from the cover band First to 11, and they're like super big on like YouTube. They literally just tour and do cover songs. But I love seeing like musicians do their like come with me as I get ready or set up my like it's fascinating. But they use the quad Cortexes, and then they use MacBooks. But like he showed his setup, and he had like 4 MacBooks, and like 3 were just backups.
Wow.
And he's like, just in case one goes down and another goes down and another goes down, because if we lose these, we don't have our show. But then also like he was designated like, well, I have to be designated sound guy, so I have to get here early because I'm also the only one that knows how to set it all up. And like there's always like that one person, and if something happens to that person, or if you go, I always like, yeah, if you go to a venue, or like say you're just starting out and you go to like a little bar and they have those sound guys that don't know how to do that, are you just SOL? All right, well, sorry, no show.
That's, you'd be surprised. With Tantric, we ran an in-ear monitor system, which nowadays is pretty standard for most bands to have, and it's fairly easy. But you'd be surprised the amount of guys that would look at it and go, wait, what are you asking me to do? And it's like, no, dude, it's so easy. Here, let me explain. No, I don't know. We can't do that. And I'm like, but bro, I'll do it for you. So it's all good. And I think, no, we can't. So
it's better my way.
I think we got to change with the times. And I think a good venue should recognize that and go, all right, let's get a sound guy in here that we get older dudes, they're awesome. They know what's going on. They're hip to the new stuff. So, I think that most venues should look at that and go, let's not get the old school sound guy that just wants to do things his way. Like, you got to evolve.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, because I don't know the last time I really have seen a band and they aren't using in-ear monitors. And, I am curious. So I've never actually put in-ear monitors in. Can you hear anything other than the music, or is it completely like can you hear any noise from the crowd, or is it all music?
So I generally have like my drum overheads in my mix, and that I'll catch a little bit of crowd audio. If you notice bigger bands that have bigger setups and more money, they'll have microphones facing the crowd so that they can mix in some crowd volume into their setup. I remember one time, the first time we ever used ears in Tantric as a band, my bass player at the time ripped them out of his ear like first song in, and he's like, nope, this sucks. And that was it. Like that, we had practiced all week with them, and then the show, and he's like, I can't hear anything, I can't feel anything, I need like the wedge. So it is isolating, but for me, I'm so used to it. I even practice with ears in. Like I have to play with these things in. They're not even the expensive ones. I got to have them in at all times to play drums because it feels natural. Everything sounds the way I need it to sound to play.
Now, do they also help with hearing loss, or do they make it worse? Like,
well, we'll see.
What? What was that? Come again?
I think it does, because I've also had shows where maybe my ears weren't doing, it's all RF frequencies. So sometimes you pull up to a festival and you've got your small little in-ear setup, but everybody else around you is running an in-ear setup, which means that you're not going to get your RF frequency correct. And so you'll end up having all of these horrible problems with the ears, where I've just had to like rip it out, second song in just to play. But afterwards, my right ear is just gone. Like I just, it's ringing, and the tinnitus and all that. Like, so I feel like the ears help in that way. But if you're cranking your, in-ear pack, you're going to lose your hearing for sure.
Well, I noticed too, like I'll see a lot of bands, like the frontman will take them off and then always immediately go off key. like they'll like rip, their vocals, and then it's like, so is that, I guess, same thing? Like they just, I noticed Brendan Urie from Panic, he always would rip his in-ears out like first song, and then they just hang them.
I think that's I want to hear the crowd, or there's something I'm not hearing enough of. Back in the day when in-ears were first started, you would have a separate monitor guy off to your side that would be the one controlling, like, hey, I need more bass. And some bands still do that. They will have somebody designated. This is interesting. When you go to a show, you should look, if it's a bigger show with, a lot more money, look behind the singer, and there's usually a little talkback microphone that's just there. And that mic goes to their guys that are running side stage ears, and they'll be like, hey, I need more bass, I need more guitar, I need more of my vocal, and can you do this, and that? And then they'll get that in-ear mix that in the moment they maybe weren't getting.
Wow.
I know somebody like Chris Daughtry, I remember the first time seeing him live, and I saw that behind him. I'm like, who the heck's he talking to? Because I don't hear that. But it's so back and side stage that you don't really notice it because the band's up front and they're all ripping and whatever. And then he walks back, says something into the mic, or will do like a vocal warm up. I've seen bands do like a little like scream or a little yell into that talkback vocal just to make sure that everything is running properly or that it sounds good. Next time you go to a show, check it out.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I've never
noticed
didn't know
it.
that was a thing. Yeah, didn't know that was a thing.
It makes sense though, because how else do you do like sign language behind your back? Like, hey, I need.
Yeah.
Yes, the bands on my circuit, what we namely call the dirt circuit, we have to go, hey!
Yeah, well, that's what I always see that, like that, especially at the local shows. It's always that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always that guy. But see, there's a thing about it, though. I like to control my own ears, so I do that myself. So that way I don't really need to rely on a monitor guy in any situation. It's just better because I don't want to be like, more of this, more. I don't want to be that guy. Bands pick the worst times to do it. It'll be like, mid-song or mid-solo or like, hey, I need more vocal in this monitor. It's like, bro, you could figure out a better way to do that. Like right after the song's over, just go, hey, if I could get some more vocal in the monitor, that'd be great. Yeah, right. Like you don't need to shout at the poor sound guy. Like I make fun of sound guys, but their job is freaking hard to deal with us idiots all day. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Jon, also, before we go, so I saw Smiles going on tour next month, or?
Yeah, so we start in February. I think February 4th is our first date, and it's Texas and a bunch of other like southern states. We go out for all of February with this other band, Primer 55, if you've heard of them. They had a couple of songs in that same era. Okay. We toured with them in November. Great dudes, good hang. It just makes sense to do another tour. We're doing that.
Are you doing any East Coast things?
I do that tour with Billy. We're opening. Her name is Mia Asano, and she's a violin TikToker, YouTuber, Instagram sensation. She's really killing it, and she's going on her first solo tour. So we're going out to support her. And that's all East Coast. I think we start in New Hampshire. We end up in Philly. We go to New York City, all around our area here.
Cool. Yeah, we love a good Philly show. So we'll definitely check that out. Cool, man. Well, thank you for joining us and taking the time to talk.
Thanks for having me on,
absolutely,
you guys. This
man.
was fun.
Great talking to you. Thanks for listening to Daddies the Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a review, and give us a like. We'll see you next time.